To the casual viewer, it's just a playground for viral entertainment. But hidden in the industrial parks of eastern North Carolina lies a multi-million-dollar, purpose-built media operation, the MrBeast Production Campus in Greenville. Spanning hundreds of thousands of square feet across warehouses, soundstages, and surrounding acreage, Jimmy Donaldson has quietly built something closer to an independent studio system than a YouTube set. From massive construction bays capable of building entire replica environments in days, to a production pipeline processing staggering volumes of 4K footage, this isn't just a creator's workspace. It's an industrial content engine, built from the ground up, without a single studio executive involved. Every media empire needs territory, and MrBeast began not in Los Angeles or New York, but in Pitt County, North Carolina, the same region where Jimmy Donaldson grew up. What started as a single warehouse purchase has, over several years, expanded into a sprawling real estate footprint assembled largely under a holding entity called Creative Grid. Public property records tell part of the story. The core campus sits along Sub Parkway in Greenville, anchored by a facility reported to have cost around $14 million when it was first built out. But that was only the beginning. In the years since, Creative Grid has continued acquiring adjacent parcels, including a 28-acre field just outside the main complex, later followed by an additional acquisition of roughly 95 acres. Some of that land reportedly came through a local economic development nonprofit aimed at attracting business to the area, a sign of just how unusual this kind of buyer is for a region historically built on agriculture, tobacco, and manufacturing. What makes this land assembly notable isn't just the acreage, it's the zoning reality underneath it. Warehouses built for manufacturing or light industrial use are not, by default, designed to support soundstage construction, high-density power draws, or the kind of vehicle and equipment traffic a video shoot at this scale requires. Converting that kind of space into a functioning production campus means navigating permitting, utility upgrades, and in some cases, structural retrofits most YouTube creators never have to think about. Neighbors in the area have, at times, expressed frustration about the pace of expansion, watching once quiet industrial lots transform into a fenced, guarded compound seemingly overnight. Local officials have acknowledged they are essentially building the regulatory playbook as they go, since nothing quite like this has existed in the region before. There is no existing framework for a business that behaves like a content factory, a logistics hub, a product manufacturer, and a private soundstage operator all at once. That ambiguity has, in some ways, worked in Donaldson's favor. Without the zoning categories or oversight structures that exist around traditional Hollywood studios, the campus has been able to grow organically, parcel by parcel, driven entirely by production need rather than a master plan drawn up by a real estate developer. It is, in effect, reverse-engineered studio infrastructure, built one acquisition at a time to keep pace with the scale of the ideas being filmed inside it. At the heart of the campus is Studio C, a warehouse reported at around 50,000 square feet, large enough to construct sets that rival mid-budget film productions. What separates this space from a traditional soundstage isn't just its size, but its speed of turnover. Where a Hollywood production might spend weeks building a single set with union crews and detailed blueprints, the Greenville operation is built around a different philosophy entirely. Get an idea from concept to camera ready as fast as physically possible. That requires a very specific kind of construction team. Reporting and behind-the-scenes footage over the years have shown carpenters, riggers, and set builders working in compressed timelines, often constructing enormous temporary structures in a matter of days rather than months. The soundproofing built into Studio C, along with an extensive built-in sprinkler system, hints at the kind of content this space is designed for. Explosions, fire effects, water stunts, and large-scale destruction are not occasional events here. They are a recurring part of production calendar, which means the building itself has to be engineered for controlled chaos in a way most commercial structures never are. This is where the operation starts to resemble a backlit more than a studio. Rather than one permanent set, the space functions like a rotating stage, torn down and rebuilt to become a chocolate factory replica 1 month, a game show arena the next, and an outdoor-style survival environment after that. Reports and leaked footage over the years have shown everything from giant circular platforms for endurance challenges to elaborate multi-room mazes, each one purpose-built, and then dismantled once filming wraps. Outdoor acreage surrounding the core buildings extends this flexibility even further, allowing for challenges that require open space, dirt, water features, or structures too large to fit under any roof. What this reveals is a production philosophy closer to a video game studio's rapid prototyping cycle than a traditional filmmaking one. Ideas are treated less like scripts and more like builds. Conceived, tested, constructed, filmed, and struck, often within the same week. That speed is only possible because the physical infrastructure, the bays, the storage, the material stockpiles, exists on-site and on standby, rather than being sourced and rented fresh for every shoot the way a conventional production company would operate. Behind every viral video lies an enormous, mostly invisible technical operation. At this scale, that operation starts to resemble the back end of a broadcast network rather than a YouTube channel. Filming a single challenge video for this kind of content often involves dozens of cameras running simultaneously, capturing hours of 4K footage from multiple angles to catch spontaneous, unscripted reactions. On-site tours over the years have reference control rooms built specifically to monitor live camera feeds during hidden camera-style challenges, with production staff reportedly managing setups involving 40 or more cameras at once for a single shoot. That volume of footage creates a data problem most creators never have to solve. Multiply hours of multi-camera 4K recording across a packed production schedule, and the resulting storage and processing demands start to look less like a YouTuber's hard drive and more like the ingest pipeline of a television network. Managing footage at this scale typically requires dedicated on-site servers, redundant backup systems, and a structured pipeline to move raw footage from camera cards into editing systems without bottlenecking the next shoot. For an operation producing content on a near-weekly cadence, any downtime in that pipeline directly threatens a release schedule that keeps the channel's algorithmic momentum alive. This is also where the editing side of the operation becomes its own department. Rather than a single editor cutting footage in isolation, large-scale career operations at this level typically run editing as an assembly line, with footage moving through logging, rough cuts, sound design, color, and graphics as distinct stages, each handled by specialized staff. Public hiring listings from the company over the years have reflected this, posting for dedicated roles in editing, motion graphics, and post-production management, rather than a single generalist position. The result is a post-production nerve center that functions less like a creator's home office setup and more like a mid-sized media company's technical department. It is this invisible infrastructure, the servers, the editing bays, the workflow management, that allows a channel producing content at Hollywood-adjacent visual quality to maintain a release cadence that traditional studios, bound by much slower production cycles, simply cannot match. Every large-scale challenge video requires more than cameras and sets. It requires moving enormous physical objects, sometimes across state lines and international borders, on a production timeline that leaves little room for delay. Over the years, the scale of props alone at this campus has become the stuff of local legend. Reporting from inside the warehouses has described a dedicated storage building holding an enormous inventory of props, costumes, and oversized replica items, with total investment in equipment and materials estimated in the tens of millions of dollars. Moving and storing objects at this scale requires infrastructure most people never associate with online video production. Heavy equipment, forklifts, flatbed trucks, and staging areas are needed simply to shuffle materials between the construction bays and the storage compounds before a shoot even begins. For challenges involving large prize reveals, whether that's vehicles, real estate, or bulk cash logistics, secure transport and short-term storage solutions become a production requirement in their own right, closer to the kind of logistics chain a game show or auto auction might need rather than anything typical of digital content creation. International shoots add another layer of complexity entirely. Productions that call for exotic locations, unique props sourced from overseas, or contestants flown in from around the world introduce customs, freight, and import considerations that a conventional YouTube channel would never have to navigate. Coordinating this kind of movement on tight production schedules without slowing down the release calendar requires dedicated logistics staff working well outside the camera's view, arranging permits, shipping manifests, and ground transport long before a single frame is filmed. The Greenville campus's expanding land footprint plays directly into this logistics equation. The additional acreage acquired around the core studio buildings gives the operation staging space, room to store construction materials, park equipment, and build outdoor sets without needing to rent temporary space elsewhere for every large production. In effect, the land acquisitions detailed earlier are not just about square footage for filming. They are about building a self-contained supply chain, one that lets the operations source, store, build, and strike physical productions entirely in-house at a pace that outside vendors and rental facilities could never sustain. Every major creative operation with valuable intellectual property, whether that a movie studio or a game developer, faces the same core problem. How do you prevent your unreleased work from leaking before launch? For this operation, the equivalent risk is a set, twist, or contestant getting photographed and posted online before the video is finished. Access to property is by design restricted to staff, contractors, and vetted participants, with no public walk-ins or tours, treating the physical footprint the same way a studio would guard an unreleased production. One detail captures this dynamic perfectly. 2 watchtowers stand outside the filming campus, visible from a distance across the surrounding fields, and to outside observers they look like serious security infrastructure. But Donaldson's team has been candid that the towers weren't actually built to provide real security. Like much of what gets constructed on the property, they exist because they make for compelling footage, structures built explicitly to shape the content rather than to protect it. That a distinctly modern twist on the confidentiality problem every studio has faced for decades. Even the security apparatus itself becomes part of the show, blurring the line between protecting production and performing it. That doesn't mean confidentiality isn't taken seriously. Given how much of the channel's business model depends on the surprise or reveal, whether that's the scale of the prize, a shocking twist, or an unannounced set, protecting that element of surprise until publication is treated as core to the business, not an afterthought. The operations approach to secrecy reflect an industry lesson learned the hard way by traditional studios. The value of content isn't just in producing it. It's in controlling exactly when and how the audience first sees it. The physical campus doesn't just produce videos. It has become the operational base for Donaldson's expansion into consumer products, most visibly through the chocolate brand Feastables and earlier ventures like MrBeast Burger. This is where production studio model starts to look less like a media company and more like a vertically integrated consumer goods operation, using the built-in audience in the videos as a direct-to-market distribution channel that most consumer brands spend years and enormous marketing budgets trying to build. The strategic logic is straightforward once you see it. A traditional consumer brand pays for shelf space, advertising, and celebrity endorsements to build awareness. This operation already commands an audience larger than most television networks, so a product launch doesn't need traditional advertising infrastructure at all. The content studio functions simultaneously as the marketing department, the testing ground for what resonates with audiences, and the launch platform, collapsing 3 separate business functions that would normally require 3 separate teams and budgets into a single physical and creative operation. This is also where the reinvestment strategy becomes clearest. Rather than treating the YouTube channel as the entire business, the studio functions as an engine that generates both content and commercial ventures from the same underlying infrastructure, audience, and physical space. The warehouse that builds a chocolate factory set for a video isn't disconnected from a warehouse that might be prototyping the packaging for an actual chocolate product. The line between content and commerce at this scale has essentially disappeared. What makes the Greenville campus significant isn't just its size, it's what it represents structurally. Traditional entertainment has always required proximity to existing infrastructure, studio lots, post-production houses, distribution networks, all clustered in a handful of established cities. This operation proves that a creator with enough scale and reinvestment discipline can build that entire infrastructure independently, in a location with no prior media industry presence whatsoever, and still compete directly with legacy studios for audience attention. The recent partnership with Amazon MGM Studios to produce a large-scale competition series is telling. It shows traditional entertainment companies recognizing that this independent infrastructure isn't a stepping stone toward eventually joining the establishment. It's a parallel system valuable enough that the establishment wants to partner with it directly on the creator's terms, without requiring relocation to Los Angeles or integration into a traditional studio system. Donaldson has been explicit that he has no interest in moving the operation to a larger media market. citing the affordability and community support of staying in eastern North Carolina. That decision, once dismissed as a curiosity, now reads as a deliberate strategic advantage. Lower real estate and labor costs relative to Los Angeles or New York mean more of the revenue gets reinvested into physical production capacity rather than absorbed by market rents. The Greenville campus, sitting in a city best known historically for tobacco and manufacturing, has become an unlikely blueprint for what a creator-owned, self-funded media studio can look like when it's built from scratch on the creator's own terms, far outside the traditional entertainment map entirely.